broadcast partner of the 19th annual Oscar qualifying, we almost got there, HollyShorts Film Festival. I am your host, one of them, Indiana Underhill, and I have Haley Royal with me, co-founders of Cinematography for Actors. Joining me here today from the film The Knowing is Erin Lovett, who is the writer and director, and then we have Moka Pantages, who is the producer. Both very cool names. We are excited to have you both here. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we only have 10 to 15 minutes per interview, which is pretty quick, but can we talk a little bit to get into it? What is The Knowing about?
Well, The Knowing is about many things. It is a psychological horror film, and it is about reproductive pressure, choice, and the trauma of infertility and loss.
Okay.
And it's something that is very important to me. I went through this myself. I had, this is what, they say, write what you know.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on the last interview. Yeah,
and that's what I did. I wrote what I knew. And I also know horror films, and horror is a genre I really love. And after going kind of through a lot of challenges and difficulties, there were things I wanted to see explored that I hadn't really seen before. So I wanted to see kind of the hidden things that are not really talked about, the ways in which infertility and IVF can affect your relationships, your time, your energy, your money, your finances, all these kind of facets of life that aren't really out in the open. And then, as someone who kind of went through it myself, I was experiencing a lot of isolation, self-inflicted isolation. And, once I kind of started opening up to friends about what I was going through, I really learned that this is a much more common issue that many women go through that isn't really necessarily talked about. So,
I think when Erin first shared the script with me too, I was very touched. We've been friends for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I won't give anything away, but there is sort of, there are some scenes that explore and I was on the other side of motherhood too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what was the character fearing? What was going on psychologically? Why was this happening to her? And I was working through motherhood and kind of figuring myself out. And so there were some lines that really resonated with me. So it really is a story that touches the lives of so many women, no matter what stage you are.
Absolutely.
Whether or not motherhood is something for you or it is. So
Wow. The complicated feelings that we might have and not necessarily share.
And have you two worked before together?
A long time ago in a different field, never in film.
Fantastic.
My background is in documentary. I've worked in a lot of documentary television and film. But I really wanted to make a horror film.
Amazing.
So
why not?
So you did. So I
did. With your background in documentary filmmaking, how did that influence your visual language for this film?
That's interesting. Well, I worked with a cinematographer who I have worked with in documentary before. And I think with documentary, you have the opportunity to capture kind of very real moments. And there's almost like a sixth sense that a cinematographer has.
The anticipation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my cinematographer is James Peterson. He's an incredible DP. And he was able to kind of capture those moments when we needed to.
Wow.
But at the same time, I wanted to make sure tonally it felt right, and that we were framing in a way to capture our main character's isolation and her fears and all those things.
How are you communicating that to him? What sort of methods were you using? Were you using storyboarding? Or
we did
things?
Storyboard. I was able to kind of share clips from past films with him that I really liked, and we kind of went scene by scene, and we're like, well, what about something from this show or from this TV, this movie?
Yes,
and we're kind of able to work backwards from there.
Wow. And Moka, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it was amazing to see them work as a team as well. He's such a great guy too, to also work within this female sort of driven story
absolutely.
that is very, difficult to sort of work through and sort of a story to tell. So it was like amazing to kind of watch. He was sensitive to that.
And he really knows the tools. So when we went into it, we used an RE Mini LF and signature prime lenses, RE signature prime lenses with a radiant soft filter, which gave it a very filmic look. You know, it wasn't that kind of real documentary feel.
You're breaking up the softness a little.
Exactly.
Yeah, while still being able to maintain the clarity, which is great. Yeah. I'm a DP, can you tell?
You know.
That's
what you're talking about.
Let's evaluate those lenses and filters. Moka, what were the biggest things after reading, feeling so connected to the story and reading the script? The biggest things you were like, we cannot sacrifice this. Short filmmaking is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
What were the things where you were like, it's just not going to happen. We have to keep this in, no matter what we do.
Well, for me, that wasn't. I am a first-time filmmaker, and I was lucky to actually be on this film. I think,
Congratulations!
Yeah, I feel lucky with the team that I got to work with, and Erin's trust in me. And so, really, there wasn't any. There were things that I loved, but I don't want to give because I don't want to give it away.
Those are the things that people
Those
should
are
be
the things
watching
that
for.
everyone will love.
As like a good producing partner to Erin, we just really were able to work together. She was very liberal in allowing me to work with her through the sort of the creative process, and we talked about each of the scenes, and she really took kind of my input in really in such a genuine way. And so there wasn't anything that I think I was tied to that I could talk about right now. But so that's
I would say though that while we were out in the field, actually having that documentary background was very helpful because we were able to understand like how much time we had during the day. How can we get this shot in a way that we're not getting multiple shots and wasting the day when we don't necessarily need that coverage.
The
precision was there. And that was actually a real superpower, I would say.
How did you, because this is such like sensitive content for a lot of people who have gone through this journey or have thought about this or heard through friends about their journeys with this, how did you maintain that emotional safe space on set with your crew and with talent?
We talked about it a lot. I was actually the intimacy coordinator.
Oh, fantastic.
Because we do have some intimate scenes, and Erin and I, we did a lot of research. She did talk to an intimacy coordinator. We really tried to make it a safe space and talk to people and really had very direct, open conversation and really kind of did it by the book, which made it a safe place. And I just think it comes from the top down. Just Erin's nature, like as a director, writer, really set the tone for the set. Like, so when I was mentioning James's sensitivity, there was no one on first time on a film set, but not first time working with teams, big creative teams, do big projects. And everyone worked so well together.
So beautiful.
I mean, it was lovely. It really was.
It is so wonderful when you can come up off a project just astonished that everyone was so mindful of each other. I use the term gentle a lot. Like, I think that we should all be very gentle with each other, especially in moments of high stress, things like that, where you're trying to put together a short film. If everyone is gentle with each other, you can come off that project saying, it was great. I would do it again. I love to hear things.
And we got
like
the
that.
story. We were able to tell the story we wanted to tell, which is such an important part of the process.
Erin, you mentioned that there are some personal Easter eggs in the sound design.
There are.
What are those? Give us some hints.
Well, okay. So I'll just mention I ended up getting pregnant during the filming.
Congratulations.
So when
How emotional does this make me right now?
Like, it was intense.
That is so cathartic too, right?
She was 4 months pregnant while we were filming.
So that was pretty intense. But I worked with this composer. His name's Val, and he has done many projects you have heard of, but I can't name them.
Yes.
Okay. Because of the strike. So he had the idea. He's like, "Do you have an ultrasound?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we actually used it. It's in the very first shot.
Oh my goodness.
And it's this pulsating my son's heartbeat. It's this pulsating sound that draws you into the forest where kind of the story comes.
That's incredible. That's so much. That's beautiful.
I have goosebumps.
Thank you. Yeah. We also have there's whispers. So, you know, our film involves a monster that's kind of just driving this woman crazy. And there are warnings from women. They're whispers that are meant to be kind of warnings to women about this monster. And it signifies, so the whisper was actually me recording. I was reading Swedish. He's Swedish. He actually had me read it in Swedish. I did not know what I was saying. And then we scrambled it up, and it's my whisper in this different language. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I loved all the creative process of it all.
Yeah, and having fun and experimenting with it, which is great, because I think to build a safe space within your own short film is so wonderful, and then being able to work with collaborators where you feel safe enough to experiment and try things out is just a huge part of that process.
And he was incredible. I mean, his whole process, he's very experimental, and that's what I was wanting.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I'm a little bit heartbroken that we have to wrap this up now.
I know, but how wonderful to feel so connected to the story already without having seen the film.
Yeah.
This is The Knowing, and it is premiering or screening Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Yes.
And if you are not in Hollywood, there's no excuse, because you can watch this on BitPix as a part of the virtual fest that's also ongoing. Awesome.
Find those Easter eggs, everybody.
Yes. So this has been Indiana and Haley with Cinematography for Actors, and Erin Lovett, who is the writer and director of The Knowing, and Moka Pantages, which is just such an incredible name as well, for our producer of The Knowing.
First time producer.
Very successful, part of the filmmaking team.
Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you all so
Thank
much,
you.
and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye. This has been another episode of the Cinematography for Actors podcast. Follow us on wherever you listen to your podcast to keep up to date on new episode releases. We will be live through August 20th here at HollyShorts Film Fest. If you're here, drop in and say a little hello at the VIP lounge. We also want to thank our sponsors, Apogee, Film Tools, Roscoe, Lightstone Rentals, Canon, and First Mile Tech. As a special gift to you listeners, we've partnered with We Make Movies to get you a discount on comprehensive production insurance packages. Use code CFA23 on your intake form for 10% off your quote by visiting wemakemovies.org/insurance.
If you missed any of our live streams, you can watch all of our interviews on our YouTube channel, Cinematography for Actors. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Cinematography for Actors. You can also catch us in a more formal setting on Monday, August 14th at Japan House for a panel discussion on the importance of bridging the gap between talent and crew. You can get 20% off of your ticket purchase by using the code HSFF2023CFA at checkout.
Thanks!